Rooks of Petersburg, a fanfiction of Jaromír Nohavica. Through the night downpour, one could only hear cries of vagrant dogs. From the Tikhvin cemetery came deafening shrieks as two shadowy shapes sat on its graves. "Tell me of what you saw tonight, dear Ya," said the bird that saw on a grave with the letter E. "I remember seeing a white carriage, E," said the other rook. "It carried a woman I see in my flights." "My flight was similar," said the bird called E. "But my carriage was black, and I saw my woman outside. I remember her crying at the carriage." "What do you think it means, E?" asked Ya. "From what I understand so far, my carriage means death," said E. "Then does my carriage mean life?" asked Ya. "No, I would rather say it means love," said E. Ever since the two birds came to that was their existence. They could not leave the cemetery, and they never saw people cross its gate, dead or alive. They did not know their names, so they decided to call themselves after the letters on the gravestones they slept on. Every night at midnight the two birds felt an instinctive call. They left the cemetery and flew through the city, each in its own direction. During their flights they saw blurry visions. These distant images felt like memories of someone. In E's vision he could see life of a prince. Meanwhile, Ya saw life of a low-class man. Both of their visions, however, shared one thing in common. They both have seen their men with a woman by their side. A woman with whom they seem to love. "Listen, E, do you think there is a meaning to our flights?" asked Ya. "I believe they show us our past lives," said E. "What makes you believe that?" asked Ya. "It only makes sense that a prince would be given a new life," said E. "It amuses me, however, why would I be such a low animal as a rook?" "Your logic has to be flawed, E," said Ya. "That would mean that I am a reborn low class." "Then maybe you died with honor, my friend," said E. The next night the moon was close to full, and the rain was intensifying. The clocks struck midnight, and the rooks once again felt the call to fly. They circled in the air above the graves and flew, each their own way. Ya saw the man he saw every night. Under his window there was a stray dog yelping at scraps of bread crust. From the city wedding music could be heard. Meanwhile, the tenant stuck himself in a game of Russian roulette, and only stopped after the bullet flew out. E, meanwhile, saw a chapel and heard the orchestra playing wedding music. He still believed he was seeing his past life. As such, he believed he saw the marriage of his old self and the woman he loved. For a moment it seemed a lovely scene, but then an unexpected guest entered the chapel with a revolver. E heard shots and shouts from the inside. Then he flew away, just as if he got scared by these sounds. "Tonight's flight was difficult to watch," said Ya. "And it would be better for me if your theory about past life was false." "If it is true, then my end was not too nice," said E. "It was actually very gruesome." "I guess I could say the same about past me," said Ya. "If I may be honest, I'm actually starting to worry about what we might see on the coming nights." "I think I understand your worries," said E. "What could have caused me such a horrible death?" That night the rooks told stories of pity and tragedy. Next night the birds saw the same scene. The woman was rejecting the man who Ya followed and following the man who Igor followed. Just then they heard her name, Nadezhda. In a few more nights, filled with visions, the rooks came to conclusions about their lives. "So, I see that it was you who killed me," said E. "How could I have killed you?" asked Ya. I could not have done it, it was too early. Then how would you explain that shooting? Asked E. I do not know, but I can assure you that the only person I killed was myself, said Ya. From his heavenly throne, God was watching all of the worlds he has created. Every Middle-earth, every hell, and every purgatory. He was especially interested in a little hell where 2 rooks were closed. He wasn't even sure whether they came from the same Middle-earth or 2 separate. But their hell was interesting either way.